Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to cut through all the noise and deliver the most essential, actionable knowledge from our source material.
And today, we are cracking open Make Time: How to Focus on What Matters Every Day by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, or Jay-Z.
Right. And this deep dive is, I think, really unique because these aren't just, productivity gurus. These guys are product designers.
They worked inside the machine. I mean, they helped build the very technologies. We're talking Gmail, YouTube, that are now kind of the biggest thieves of our time.
Exactly. So they're giving us the insider's playbook on how to escape the traps they help set.
It gives them a ton of credibility, doesn't it? It's not some monk on a mountain telling you to get rid of your phone.
No, not at all. It's two people who really get the deep engineering of attention. And their core idea is that the real struggle isn't about saving time, it's about making choices.
It's about fighting back against what they call the default life.
The default life, yeah. The one most of us are kind of trapped in. And the goal is to create an intentional life instead.
Precisely. And they argue we're being pulled by these two huge forces, and just, recognizing them is the first step.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What's the first one?
The first threat is something I think we all feel. They call it the busy bandwagon.
The busy bandwagon.
Yeah, it's that pervasive cultural pressure that says every single minute has to be filled with productivity. We feel like if we're not busy, we're not important.
Or we're failing somehow. It shows up as what? Overflowing inboxes, calendars just stuffed with meetings.
Totally. And the problem, as they point out, is that just running faster on that hamster wheel only makes the wheel spin faster.
Oh, I see that constantly. You clear out 10 emails and 15 more pop in to take their place. The system is just designed to refill itself.
It is. The busy bandwagon is all about quantity over quality. And just being more productive doesn't actually solve the root problem.
Which brings us to the second and maybe more insidious threat.
The infinity pool.
Infinity pools.
These are the technologies designed specifically to consume our attention endlessly. Social media, streaming services, news feeds, and maybe the worst of them all, email.
They're pools you can just dive into and you never, ever hit the bottom.
Never. And what's so fascinating here is the insider knowledge they have. Jay-Z worked at YouTube. Which is, that's the perfect infinity pool, isn't it?
It's the definition of it. And Jake worked on Gmail.
Yeah, building things like Priority Inbox to try and manage the flood he was helping create. Knowing that makes his own personal turning point so much more powerful.
Right, because he was designing the system but still falling for it.
His moment of reckoning was just pure frustration. He talks about feeling constantly stressed, always glued to his phone. And in this fit of furious irritation, he just fought back.
He went into his iPhone and just started deleting apps.
Social media first, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all gone. But then he went even further.
He stared at the Gmail app icon.
The app he spent years working on, and he deleted that too. He said a warning message popped up, practically begging him not to, but he just powered through it.
Deleting the very thing you perfected. That's the ultimate act of taking back control.
And the result wasn't anxiety. It was this profound sense of relief, of freedom. He broke the reflex, that unconscious habit of reaching for the phone whenever he felt a flicker of boredom.
And that personal experiment is what leads him to Jay-Z, who, it turns out, kind of had this all figured out already.
Yes. Jake says he wanted to dislike Jay-Z at first because he was so impossibly calm, always ahead on his work, and still had time to go sailing.
So Jay-Z already had a system.
A whole framework, really. And it wasn't rooted in corporate efficiency stuff. It was rooted in evolutionary psychology, our ancient human history.
Our caveman ancestors, Urk, as they call him.
Exactly. Jay-Z's whole thing is that the mismatch between our hunter-gatherer brain and the modern digital world is what causes all this stress. The answer isn't willpower. That's a finite resource.
The answer is to design your environment.
To change your defaults. To make distractions harder to get to and focus easier to achieve.
And this is where their shared background in design thinking really comes into play.
They took the concept of the design sprint, where you cancel everything for 5 days to solve one big problem, and they applied it to daily life.
They ran a sprint on time itself.
For years, they tested it with almost 1,000 people in every job you can imagine. CEOs, teachers, farmers, baristas, and it worked. The framework is resilient.
So it's not about being a superhero and never failing.
Not at all. They admit they still binge Netflix sometimes or check email on vacation. But the system is there to help them pivot back quickly.
So what does this all mean for you listening? The Make Time framework boils down to a 4-step daily cycle.
And that cycle is our deep dive today. You choose one highlight to focus on, you enter laser mode to beat distraction, you energize your body and mind, and finally, you reflect to tune the system.
All right, let's dive into that first step, the highlight. So traditional productivity is all about long-term goals and these huge to-do lists, but the authors say those methods are often, well, broken.
They really are. Their critique is that long-term goals are just too abstract. They put you in this someday mindset where you always feel like you're not quite there yet.
And to-do lists.
They're just demoralizing. Like we said, they instantly refill. The to-do list becomes this constant reminder of everything you didn't manage to do.
That's a powerful reframe. If you're always running toward a goal that's miles away, you completely miss the day you're actually in.
Exactly. They use this great quote from Cesar Pavese, "We do not remember days, we remember moments." And the whole point of the highlight is to intentionally create a memorable moment each day.
To stop the days from just blurring into one long, exhausting slog. So instead of trying to tackle the whole list, you just focus on one meaningful moment.
Yes, the daily highlight is your choice of just one thing, one single focus for the day. It could be a task, an activity, anything. It gives you a clear victory at the end of the day.
And this is a really important point. The highlight doesn't have to be work-related, right?
Oh, not at all. It can be a deep work task, sure, like editing a manuscript, but it could just as easily be reading a book for an hour or playing with your kids, or Jay-Z's example is leaving work early to go for a sale. It's whatever gives the day its texture.
Okay, but when the busy bandwagon is screaming at me, when I have 10 urgent emails and a report to finish, how do I possibly choose just one thing?
They simplify it. They give you 3 criteria to help you choose. You just need to find a task that satisfies one of them.
Okay, what are they?
First is urgency. Is there something that absolutely must be done today? Second, satisfaction. What's a task that will just feel really, really good to finish?
Something you've been putting off.
Exactly. And the third one is joy. What's something you simply want to do? Something that will just be a positive anchor for your day.
That makes it feel less like a cold calculation and more like a human choice. But what about all the other tasks? Do you just ignore them?
No, but you change how you see them. They suggest using a might-do list instead of a to-do list. The might-do list is just a brain dump of everything big and small.
So you get it all out of your head, but it's a pool of options, not a list of demands.
Precisely. Jay-Z's sailboat is the perfect example. He had hundreds of tasks to get the boat ready. If his to-do list every day was finish the boat, he'd be paralyzed. But with his might-do list, he could just look at it each morning and intentionally select one highlight like fix the water pump, and that defines success for the day.
I can see the power in that. But once you choose the highlight, you have to protect it, don't you? Otherwise, the day just eats it alive.
You do. And the mechanism for that is scheduling. You have to put the highlight on your calendar, even if it's personal. It forces you to confront the trade-offs.
They had that great example about family dinner.
Yes. If your highlight is a family meal, you don't just hope it happens. You schedule leave work at 5 p.m. You schedule start cooking at 6 p.m. That 5 p.m. calendar block becomes a real powerful barrier against the busy bandwagon.
That sounds great, but what happens when the day just, completely implodes? Is the highlight a failure if you can't get to it?
Not at all. And this is where the flexibility is so crucial. Jake tells this really human story about having a terrible day, plumbing issues, a headache, surprise dinner guests. His highlight was supposed to be editing 100 pages.
Which was obviously not going to happen.
By 4 p.m., it was impossible, so he just scrapped it. His new highlight became simple. Enjoy dinner with friends. He changed his intention, focused on being present, and salvaged the day.
So it's about intentionality in the moment, not just blindly following a plan.
The goal is satisfaction, not perfection.
Okay, so we've chosen our highlight, we've put it on the calendar. Now comes the hard part, actually focusing on it. This brings us to step 2, laser, beating distraction by design.
And this is where their background as product designers is so valuable. We have to understand why this stuff is so addictive, why willpower just doesn't work.
They identify 4 secret ingredients that make these infinity pools so irresistible. What's the first one?
First, they are made with love. And that sounds harmless, but it's not. The people building these apps are passionate. They truly believe they're making the world better, more connected, more fun.
And that passion means they're constantly improving the addiction mechanism.
Constantly. The second ingredient is evolution. Tech companies are extremely data-driven. They're running thousands of experiments every day.
A/B testing everything.
Everything. Button colors, recommendation algorithms. If a change makes you stay 1 second longer, it stays. The product is literally a learning system, constantly getting better at capturing you.
And the third ingredient is the rivalry between them.
Competition. It's fierce. YouTube is fighting Triddle. Netflix is fighting TikTok, is fighting the news. They are all in a war for your attention, which means they are all forced to become more and more compelling just to survive.
So that's 3 layers of sophisticated engineering. The fourth one is the one inside us.
The fourth is the toughest. Caveman brains. Technology exploits our evolved wiring. Our ancestor, Urk, was wired to notice distractions. A ruffle in the grass could be a predator. And we're also wired to seek out new information, social status, and this is the big one, unpredictable rewards.
The little notification ping, the refresh of the feed, it's like a digital slot machine.
It's the exact same dopamine loop. Urk got a huge dopamine hit from an unpredictable find, like a patch of berries. We get the same hit from a new like on Instagram. We're genetically programmed to love these things.
Which explains why just telling yourself, I'll have more willpower, is a losing battle. You're pitting your 200,000-year-old brain against a billion-dollar engineering team.
You are.
So let's get practical. How do we fight back? Starting with the phone.
Tactic #17 is the clean slate. 4 steps to a distraction-free phone. First, delete social apps. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, just get them off there.
Okay.
Second, delete other infinity pools.
Yeah.
Games, news apps, YouTube. If you can lose hours to it, it's got to go.
And then comes the big one, the Jake move.
Third, delete email. And not just the app. You have to go into your settings and remove the account entirely. They mentioned one reader who did this and reclaimed 2.5 hours per day.
That is just a staggering amount of time. And the final step.
Fourth, remove the web browser. They call it the Swiss Army knife of distraction. If you leave it on there, you can still get to everything you just deleted. You have to disable it.
Wow. Okay, I can hear people listening and thinking, I can't delete my email app, so if that's too extreme, what's the next best thing?
Friction. The magic word is friction. Tactic #18 is simply to log out. By default. Every time you use a site, you log out. Never check the Remember Me box.
And Jay-Z took this a step further with his passwords.
Yes, the supercharged passwords. He changes his passwords to these crazy, impossible strings of characters like AQK at IU and only stores them in a password manager.
Why?
It creates a speed bump. The hassle of opening the password manager, finding it, copying it, pasting it, it gives your rational brain a half second to ask, do I really need to do this right now? And often the answer is no.
I love that. Turning your own security into a defense against yourself. What about the notifications, the pings that hijack us all day?
Tactic #19. Nix notifications. Just turn them all off. Almost all of them. The authors say the only point of most notifications is to remind you the app exists and pull you back in.
So you leave on what, calendar reminders and texts, maybe?
Maybe. But that's it. Nothing else is truly urgent enough to break your focus.
We also need to change the phone itself, the visual trigger.
Tactic #20. The blank home screen. You move every single app off your main home screen, put them in folders on the second or third screen.
So when you unlock your phone, you just see nothing?
You see quiet. It forces a moment of intentionality. You have to consciously swipe and hunt for the distraction, which gives you time to reconsider.
And speaking of triggers, there's a ridiculously simple, cheap way to stop checking your phone for the time.
Tactic #21. Wear a wristwatch. It's so simple it's almost funny. But if you check your phone for the time, you see a notification, and 5 minutes later you're lost. Jay-Z talks about his $17 Timex. It tells the time. That's it. It's perfect.
It's using old tech to defend against new tech. But what about when you need, like, a guaranteed bubble of focus?
Tactic #22. Leave devices behind. You have to create intentional pockets of unavailability. Like their friend Chris, who leaves his phone and laptop at the office twice a week so he can be fully present with his family.
That kind of separation is powerful. But what if your biggest problem isn't the big apps, but just one specific weird website that's your personal black hole?
That's your distraction kryptonite. Tactic #24. You have to identify the one thing you can't resist. For Jay-Z, it was a weird Yahoo group about sailboats.
And for that, you need extreme measures.
You do. They tell Harriet's story. She realized Facebook had hijacked her brain. She quit for a week, then 2 months, then 10 months. She says she was dramatically happier. Sure, she lost some casual friends, but the real ones found other ways to connect.
It filtered for what was actually important. What about leveraging those times you can't escape, like on an airplane?
Tactic #27. Fly without Wi-Fi. An airplane is enforced focus time. Turn off the seatback screen. Do not pay for the Wi-Fi. Jake used his flight time for 10 years to write adventure fiction. He wrote entire novels on planes because he treated it as sacred offline time.
That friction is like the old dial-up days, where going online was a deliberate act How can we bring that back?
Tactic hashtag 28. Put a timer on the internet. This is so brilliantly analog.
Eh.
You plug your internet router into a mechanical wall timer, the kind you use for lamps. When you need to focus, you set it for 90 minutes. The internet is physically off. You can't just click it back on.
A hard barrier. I like that. Okay, finally, let's circle back to email. If we need to send things for our highlight, but we can't risk getting sucked into the inbox, what do we do?
Tactic hashtag 40. Send only email. The data says office workers spend over half their time on work about work, and email is the biggest culprit.
So how does send only work?
You create a separate forwarding email account. You only use this account to send emails. Any replies get forwarded to your main inbox, but you never actually open the send only account's inbox. It lets you send information out without getting pulled into the vortex.
That's a clever way to participate without getting swept away. Okay, so we've chosen our highlight, we've built our laser-focused environment, but none of that matters if you're exhausted. Step 3, energize.
Right. This section is all about fixing the brain-body disconnect of modern life. We treat our bodies like a Segway scooter for the brain.
Just a vehicle to carry our head around.
We forget we're descendants of Urk, the hunter-gatherer, who is moving constantly, eating real food, sleeping with the sun.
And when our energy battery is low, that's when our defenses against distraction are at their weakest.
Totally. When you're tired or hungry, you are so much more vulnerable to the infinity pools.
Yeah.
So these tactics are all about charging that battery in sustainable ways.
Let's start with movement. We are built to move, not sit in a chair for 10 hours.
Tactic hashtag 61 is exercise every day, but don't be a hero. This is a huge psychological shift. They're arguing against these heroic all-or-nothing workouts.
Jake's basketball story is the perfect example of this.
He used to play these exhausting 3-hour basketball sessions, and it would just wipe him out for the rest of the day. Then he realized that a simple 10-minute jog with his son actually gave him better mental clarity and energy for his work.
The goal is consistency, not intensity. Give yourself credit for any movement.
Any movement at all. And the best form of movement they highlight is their wonder drug.
Tactic hashtag 62. Pound the pavement. Walking.
It's a wonder drug for your body, obviously, but for making time, it's a wonder drug for thinking. It gives you space to plan, to daydream, to work through problems related to your highlight.
Jay-Z found that even though walking made his commute longer, it felt like he gained time.
Because the quality of that time was so much higher. He was planning his day, structuring his thoughts. It was focused mental work, not just, distracted time on a bus.
But our world is built for convenience. Sometimes you have to actively choose the harder path.
That's tactic hashtag 63. Inconvenience yourself. It means resetting your default from ease to energy. So you choose to cook dinner, you take the stairs, you walk to the store.
I get it in principle, but is that really realistic? Jake admits he loves his wheeled suitcase.
And that's the point. It's not about being a Luddite, it's about being intentional. If you enjoy cooking, it's energizing. If you hate it, it's draining. The goal is to maximize your energy, not to suffer.
Okay, what about when you really only have, 5 minutes? How do you get a good energy burst?
Tactic hashtag 64. Squeeze in a super short workout. And this is all about high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, short bursts of maximal effort.
What's the benefit of that quick, intense burst?
It floods your system with blood flow, endorphins, adrenaline. It wakes up your caveman brain without the exhaustion of a long workout. Jay-Z has a simple 3x3 routine, 1 set of push-ups, squats, and lifts, 3 times a week. That's it.
Simple enough that there's no excuse not to do it. Okay, let's talk fuel, food.
Tactic hashtag 65. Eat like a hunter-gatherer. This is basically Michael Pollan's philosophy. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Your body evolved to run on real ingredients. When you give it what it recognizes, you get steady energy.
And they have a really simple visual trick for this.
Tactic hashtag 66. Central park your plate. When you make a meal, you fill half your plate with salad or greens first. You reserve that territory. Then you fill in the rest. It's a simple hack to avoid that post-lunch slump that sends you right to an infinity pool.
I like that. Okay, now we get to the tactic battle. Fasting versus snacking. How can both of these be right?
It's the perfect example of how the framework is about personal experimentation, not rigid rules. It's about what works for your Urk.
Let's start with Jay-Z. He's a fan of tactic hashtag 67. Stay hungry, intermittent fasting.
Right. Jay-Z points out that Urk didn't eat 3 meals a day plus snacks. He found that skipping breakfast and having a 16-hour fast actually sharpened his focus. That feeling of light hunger, he argues, is a signal for mental clarity.
But for Jake, that same feeling just makes him a cranky toddler.
Exactly. So Jake champions tactic hashtag 68. Snack like a toddler. He knows that when his blood sugar drops, he can't think clearly. So his rule is to have high-quality snacks, nuts, fruit ready to go. The key for both is just being intentional about it.
And finally, a specific tactic for that dessert energy crash.
Tactic #69. Go on the dark chocolate plan. Sugar highs lead to horrible crashes, making you so vulnerable to distraction. The answer isn't to give up dessert, just to reset the default. Dark chocolate has less sugar and is more satisfying in smaller amounts.
And Jake's Jolly Rancher incident is the perfect cautionary tale.
Oh, yeah. In 2002, he ate a ton of them, had this insane sugar high where he did a pantomime of Super Mario Bros. For 5 minutes and then had a catastrophic crash. That's when he realized the cost wasn't worth it and switched his default.
That one incident is like a mini version of the whole framework. Okay, let's talk about recharging the brain, sleep and connection.
Sleep is the foundation. Tactic #74 is design the nights before. Most of us need 7 to 9 hours. So you have to work backwards. If you need to wake up at 5:30, you need to be asleep by 9:30. And the crucial thing is to avoid jet lagging yourself.
How do you jet lag yourself at home?
Tactic #86, don't jet lag yourself. By sleeping in super late on the weekends. If you wake up at 6 a.m. during the week and 10 a.m. on Saturday, you're giving yourself 4 hours of jet lag. It makes Monday mornings brutal. The key is a consistent wake-up time.
What about recharging during the day? That feels impossible sometimes.
Tactic #78. Trick yourself into meditating. And meditation isn't some mystical thing, it's just rest and exercise for your brain. It's been proven to boost focus and even strengthen your brain's cortex.
Like a workout for your mind.
It is. And the trick is to aim low. Use an app like Headspace, start with 3 minutes. You can even do it while you're walking, just call it quiet time if meditation sounds too intimidating.
And finally, recharging through actual human connection.
Tactic #81. Spend time with your tribe. Herc was a social animal. Deep face-to-face interaction is energizing. This means prioritizing actual talking over texting. Jake's family started doing screen-free dinners, and it became a source of incredible connection.
There's one last piece of advice here for people whose lives are all about taking care of others.
Tactic #87. Put on your own oxygen mask first. This is for new parents, caregivers, anyone in a service role. If you run your own battery down to 0, you can't help anyone. Taking time to energize yourself isn't selfish. It's essential for being able to give sustainable care.
So we've covered highlight, laser, and energize. The fourth and final step, reflect, is what ties it all together. It's the system that makes sure the system keeps working.
This is where you become a scientist of your own life. You apply the scientific method. Observe, guess, experiment, measure. It's about moving from just reacting to your day to iteratively designing it.
And the tool for this is the daily note. What are you tracking exactly?
It's super simple, just 5 things. 1. Today's highlight, did I make time for it? A simple yes or no. 2. Today's focus, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
3. Today's energy, also 1 to 10. 4. What tactics I tried today and how they went. And 5. What tactics I'll try tomorrow.
That seems like it could easily become just another chore on the list, another thing to feel guilty about if you miss it.
That's a huge pitfall they address. It's not about judging yourself. The tracking has to be simple. If your energy was a rata 2, that's just a piece of data. Then you guess why I skipped lunch, and you design an experiment for tomorrow. I'll pack 2 snacks.
So a low score isn't a failure, it's just information that helps you adjust the plan for the next day.
Exactly. If your focus was a 3, you look at your tactics. Maybe you realize checking email on your phone really blew up your afternoon. So tomorrow, you try the send-only email tactic. It's about gentle, constant course correction.
There's one part of the daily note, though, that seems intentionally unscientific.
You're talking about the question, moment I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Why put something so subjective, like gratitude, into what's supposed to be an objective system of measurement?
They say it's there to bias the results. Because changing habits is hard. You're going to have bad days. Days where you miss your highlight and your focus score is terrible. If the reflection is only about what went wrong, you'll just give up.
So gratitude is the psychological fuel to keep you going.
It highlights the small wins. Even on a bad day, writing down that you had a good conversation or that you enjoyed a 10-minute walk. It reinforces the positive moments that making time actually created. It gives you the incentive to show up and try again tomorrow.
So this whole framework, when you do it day after day, isn't just about managing your calendar. It can lead to a huge personal transformation, a personal pivot.
Yeah, that term is borrowed from the startup world. When a company realizes what they're doing isn't working and they pivot to something new, like when Instagram pivoted from being a check-in app.
And by using this framework, you gain the clarity to make your own pivot.
You do. And the author's own stories are the best examples. Let's talk about Jake Shift.
Okay.
For 7 straight years, his personal highlight, day after day, was writing adventure fiction in the evenings. It took 7 years of that consistent daily effort before that passion project became something real.
7 years is a long time. That takes a lot of faith in the process.
It does. But by the time he was ready to quit his big job at Google to be a full-time writer, it wasn't a crazy leap of faith. The data was there. He had proven to himself for 7 years that this was what brought him alive.
And Jay-Z's pivot was even more dramatic, a complete life change.
Jay-Z's highlight was always about sailing, learning about engines, navigation, and that consistent focus, enabled by this very framework, eventually led them to the ultimate pivot. He and his wife, Michelle, quit their jobs, gave up their apartment, and moved onto a sailboat.
And started sailing down the Pacific coast.
California, Mexico, Central America, it's the ultimate intentional life.
It really is. And the beauty of it is that the system works no matter what your goal is. Sailing the world, writing a book, or just having 2 screen-free family dinners a week.
The system gives you the clarity and the confidence to get there. The ultimate purpose isn't productivity. It's not about saving minutes. It's something much deeper.
The true purpose of this whole thing, reclaiming your attention, managing your energy, is just about coming alive.
It is.
And that brings us to the final provocative thought they leave us with. It's a quote from Howard Thurman that really feels like a challenge to anyone listening.
Do not ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
And so the final challenge for you, the listener, isn't just to try these tactics, but to use them to figure out what that one thing is, the thing that truly makes you come alive, and then start making time for it, starting with today's highlight.